Good people, what is going on? Another episode of the All Go Podcast. I'm your host Desmond. Was out for a little run. It's a little colder than I thought it would be, but wanted to just do a quick video. Obviously, the talk all over is Alabama beat Oklahoma in the first round of the playoffs, and just quite the tale of really just two teams. Really call it four teams, because Oklahoma looked like one team from 0-0 to them being up 17-0, and they looked like another team once they went up 17-0 to the end of the game. And the same thing for Alabama. But Alabama wins it 34-24, and quite the resilient performance from Alabama. Starting off, the game just didn't go well. It really had the looks of the first matchup where, Alabama gets pinned deep, they get sacked, they punt it, short field for Oklahoma, they score, and it's just like, okay, here we go. And it, like I said, they go down 17-zip, and the turning play of the entire game, and you could point to multiples because so many big plays happened in the game. But I think it was the 3rd and 3. Alabama almost gets the sack on Mateer. He scrambles out to his left and throws deep. Receiver can't make that play. And right after that play, the 4th down, punter drops the snap. Keenan picks it up, and we're off and running. Obviously, you had the interception, the pick 6, which once again, similar to the first matchup where Ty Simpson throws the pick 6. Just huge swings in the game. And Alabama just offensively never really got it going. But it was, Ty, he had a pretty solid game. I think his QBR was like maybe 75 or something like that. But so he wasn't quite lighting it up. But early on, it was a mess, an absolute mess. He was just really jittery. Oklahoma's defense did a great job of speeding him up. He never was quite comfortable, especially early in the game. And really, when Alabama was down 17-0, and they had, I believe, a 4th and 2 deep in Oklahoma territory, I thought, I'm like, okay, maybe you kick a field goal here. You're down 14, and you kind of try to dig your way out. And DeBoer, it didn't seem like it was any hesitation. It's like, no, we're going to go for it. They get the completion, and then also the receiver, I think it's Brown, ends up scoring a touchdown. Just a huge play. And like I said, there were so many huge plays in that game. But there was also things where if you would have told me before the game started, I would have told you Alabama's getting the doors blown off. Like Jeremy Bernard having 3 catches for 40 yards. I didn't think there was any path or any story where that could happen and Alabama win, let alone score 34 points. Like, I just did not think that was possible because the way Ryan Williams is playing, once again, he had another drop. It was a tough catch, but man, you're a high level guy. Like, you've got to make that play. But with the way that he's playing, Cuevas isn't healthy. He played, but he didn't play a lot. I just didn't think. I'm like, well, where else is it going to come from? And it comes from a freshman receiver who had a pretty big game, and that 4th down catch was huge. He also had another one of Ty Simpson's only really deep balls that were completed. Was another one to Brown as well. So it was wild. I like I said, did not think that when they were down 17-0. I was pretty ticked off with Ryan Grubb. Didn't love what was going on, what you were seeing, because it looked so similar to the first game in that the mistakes that were happening and the things that were happening with field position. So Alabama wins it 34-24. They now move on to play Indiana in the Rose Bowl. I believe that it's a 5.5 point favorite for Indiana, which I think that's pretty solid. I'd imagine that line might move a bit as we get closer to the game, but I just think it's going to be something Alabama's going to have to come to play if you want to hang and play with Indiana. They're a really good team, super sound, fundamentally sound, and Cignetti's a great coach, and I can imagine that he's got a game plan ready to disrupt Alabama. Really, if you can just get pressure on Ty Simpson, we're a pretty difficult. It's tough for us to score and play. So, I mean, it's pretty simple. And we just, like in the game yesterday, it seemed like our offense was so one-sided that it was just pass, 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 pass. And when I actually looked at the box score, I mean, it was actually, we were pretty balanced. It was like 29 runs, 29 passes, 25 runs, something in that ratio. So pretty balanced. It just didn't seem that way. And maybe it's because we have just a pattern of run, which I feel like that never happens. But it just was, it seemed in the game watching it, it seemed like, goodness gracious, we're just air raiding the heck out of the ball. But yeah, so we'll see what happens. I think it's probably wishful thinking at this point, but man, if you could get Ryan Williams to freaking show up and participate along with Jeremy Bernard, another week for Cuevas. Jam Miller just got back. He wasn't quite himself. Had 7 carries, I think, but it's just, if you can, we've got some weapons where you could make our offense pretty darn dangerous and explosive, but they've got to perform. Jeremy Bernard had a drop on a scramble from Ty Simpson. He's rolling to his left, throws it deep. It was a busted coverage. Ty underthrew it, but he was just trying to get the ball out, and Jeremy just goes down to his knees, and just the ball just goes right past his arm, and it just like, yeah, got to be able to help him out in those times, and just a tough drop there. But other thing I wanted to talk about was Michigan's head football coach search. So Michigan fans, and I'll say some, because I do think it's unfair to broad brush everybody. I think with every fan base, there's the 60% in the middle that are pretty normal and sane and live in reality with their team. And then there's 20% that are doomsday no matter what. Like, oh my gosh, we suck and blah, blah, blah. And then there's a 20% on the other side that it's just, we could do whatever we want. Like for Alabama, we're the best team in the nation. No one can beat us, blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, we do have 3 losses. We're the best. No, that was a fluke. Those type of fans. So some Michigan fans were under the impression that no matter what, Michigan could get get any coach that they want. And I always thought that was not true. Like, to me, there was a handful of coaches that were not coming to Michigan. Marcus Freeman's not coming. Dan Lanning's not coming. Ryan Day, not coming. And then a couple guys because they just left, right? But some fans were set that Michigan was going to make a call and get Kalen DeBoer, and after the Alabama game, he's going to be the Michigan coach. Me, personally, I never thought that was going to happen. And I've mentioned it before on the channel, so I won't get into it again. But I had been texting with a couple of my friends, Corey and Dre, about the whole search. And, my thing is, look, anything can happen because it's college football, it's money, it's, dirty, essentially. So anything can happen, but I didn't think that was in the cards of Kalen DeBoer. And I was always of the thought process, you need to put a full court press on for Kenny Dillingham. And I've mentioned why on the channel before. But young coach, energetic, like he's just got a good moxie. He's got a good just energy about him, a good aura. Like, he's got the swagger of a head coach at a big-time program, which honestly Sharon Moore did not have. But I digress. And today we find out that there has been I gotta go pick up my daughter from volleyball practice, but there's been an extension. Kenny Dillingham, Arizona State, 5-year extension. And for Michigan, you decided to try to play this waiting game. You wanted your cake and eat it too. And it burned you. Because I think if you go through If you, Monday of this week, if you say, hey, Kenny, we want to offer you, what, I don't even know, whatever it is, 7 years, $100 million. We want you to be the coach of Michigan. I think Kenny Dillingham, along with some other details, right? What's my NIL budget, those types of things. I think he's coming. And I think he's probably bringing a decent amount of his staff with him as well. But because you thought you're just too big and we're the best and so on and so forth, you thought you could wait on Kalen DeBoer, set Kenny Dillingham to the side and pat him on the head. Just wait there. We'll be with you. We'll be with you. And you thought you could have your cake and eat it too. And now you got burned. And now who do you go to? There's some fans saying we should just go with Biff Poggi, who is already on the staff. There's some fans talking about Kyle Whittingham, who just stepped down at Utah. There's a lot of different options, but which one are you going to feel great about? And that's the difficulty. And to me, this kind of goes back to the same things. Why Michigan is a great job, make no mistake about it. But what some Michigan fans are only looking at is the positives of the Michigan job. There's some negatives as well. I mean, you can get into two hands on the scandals you guys have going on. And I get it. Some of them weren't a big deal, but you had the whole cheeseburger thing. And you may say it's not a big deal. And I actually agree with that. But the point is, it's happening to you. It's not happening to everybody. Like, you're the only ones getting in trouble for it. So regardless, you had that. You got the Connor Stallions thing. Now you got the Sharon Moore thing. Now you got Ward Manuel. Is he going to stay? Is he not? How's that going to work? There's talks that, everybody knew what was going on with Sharon Moore and the staffer and all this other stuff, in which, like I said, it may not be a big deal at the end of the day, but it is still something. And it shows some of your dysfunction of how you're running your athletic department. Like, the fact that Sharon Moore was even your head coach. Like, why are you not running a national search when you're one of the I mean, at that time, it was you. You just won a national championship. I know you had a lot of guys go to the NFL, but it's Michigan. I mean, you were better then than you are now. And somehow now you think you should get whoever you want, but you didn't think that, a couple years ago. So I just think for Michigan, this to me just adds on to not a huge amount of it, but it just adds on to the dysfunction that Michigan operates with. And I'm not saying, and it doesn't mean it's not a great job. It is, but you also have to address some of this stuff too. You can't just think that, oh, well, everything is fine and it doesn't just go away. Like, it's just it's chaos. And every coach doesn't want to jump into that. There's a difference between, hey, listen, we've got talent on this roster. They just need to be coached up. Coach, we just need better coaching, better development. Cool. Because just about every coach will say, I can do that. But to say, hey, coach, yeah, you're coming in. It's kind of a weird time. This person is a staffer. They were the one that was involved with Sharon Moore, so on and so forth. Yeah, multiple people kind of knew. It just kind of, that's, come on, man. Like, I'm not a freaking HR manager. Like, I don't want to have to deal with that. That's not football. That is not football. What I want to deal with is football stuff. And Michigan needs to understand that and just address it. Like, it's not, like I said, it's not the end of the world by any stretch of the imagination, but you also need to address it head on. So I don't know who they go for after this. I've mentioned Brian Daboll. Who knows what will happen there? But, yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think Michigan got themselves stuck between a rock and a hard place, and now we're here. So that is it for me. We got another playoff game kicking off here in about 30 minutes, and a day full of football, so it's going to be awesome. Appreciate it. Peace.